Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're nearing the end of the year. Going to give you a quick market update in terms of what's been happening this month of December. We're also going to talk about a new tax that's coming into place January 1st, how it might affect you as a seller of real estate. Real quick before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hassan. I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area, and I make educational real estate content to help you on your real estate journey. When I'm not making videos like this, I'm helping people just like you buy and sell real estate across the Lower Mainland. So if that sounds interesting to you and you wanted to chat with me one-on-one about your real estate situation, you can book me for a free call in the Calendly link below and on screen, and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a future video. All right, want to hop right into it. Hope you are having a great holiday season so far. Thought I'd give you a brief update on what's happening this month of December. December, not really a time of year that's very prominent sales-wise here in Metro Vancouver and in the Fraser Valley. Things are a lot different this year. I've been in the business now for 9 years, going on 10 years next year, and this is the first, I would say, holiday week, so the week of Christmas, where I'm still getting requests from clients. I'm still getting showing requests. Offers are being sent. It's really a very different December than we've experienced in years past. Not super surprising. We had a lot of momentum coming from October and November and having rate cuts and a little bit more optimism in the market. What I can tell you from a sales perspective, I'm filming this on Boxing Day, but as of yesterday, as of Christmas Day, we're already on the Greater Vancouver side, we're already 20-25% higher sales-wise than December of 2023. End of 2022. So sales numbers are going to be substantially higher, sales quantity perspective. It's going to be very interesting to see from a pricing perspective where exactly we are in December. Historically, December has been a month where buyers can nab some deals. There's a lot of sellers that aren't showing their properties right now. Not as many buyers out there, so not as much competition happening. So December tends to be a pretty good month to get a good price if you're purchasing real estate. So I will be watching that. I'll report on that later on in next week's video, but all we need to know right now is we're still seeing that heightened activity. I see no reason why any of this would change going into January. I said it a couple videos ago, the spring market is going to come early this year. I think we're just going to have consistent momentum January, February, March. Pricing is a much different thing to look at. There's so many different variables in there. I personally think that we'll probably be, trading flat on the condo side. So, maybe some slight decreases in price, but generally flat on the condo side. And I think for townhomes and detached homes, stuff where there's maybe not as much quantity, I could see prices going up as we move through the year. All right, so I want to jump into the main theme of this week's video, and that is the new tax that's being launched by the BC Provincial Government. The home flipping tax comes into play as of January 1st, 2025. How this tax will work, basically the provincial government is coming out and they're targeting home sellers, people that buy real estate and sell them within a 1 or a 2 year period. Now, to give you a bit of a background, back when the market was piping hot, and so I would say, 2017, 2016, people were buying real estate, they're buying properties, and before they even got their keys, 2 or 3 months later, because the market was so hot, these prices of properties would escalate so much. And so they'd be able to purchase a piece of real estate, some buyers, and 3-4 months later, that property, it's a detached home, for example, that's worth $100,000 or $150,000 more. And so you had people flipping properties. They're buying them, they're not even moving into them, and basically just assigning them for a profit, flipping them for a profit. You actually saw some instances of this happening when the market was hot, where buyers would write offers with long subject removals, and they would flip the property before they even had to commit to the property. So they're shopping around an accepted offer, an accepted contract, if you will, to see if they could flip it to try and capitalize. So, obviously that was a terrible thing for real estate prices and where we're at today. It's had a large effect on a lot of the price appreciation in many instances with these flippers during that hot market. Again, this was several years ago where you would see it, and you wouldn't see it with, end user type buyers, people that were buying to move into it. You weren't seeing that happen. And so now we have a tax. Now we have the home flipping tax that's to, target these types of buyers and sellers that truthfully don't even exist in the market anymore. Launches as of January 1st. Some key things for you to know. So basically how the tax works is if you buy and sell the property within 365 days or the first year, you will pay a 20% tax on the profit from the sale of that property. And in the second year, it prorates right down to 0%, depending on how many days you have it beyond that first year. Now, like I just mentioned, this tax was to target an activity that just is not happening in today's market, wasn't happening in last year's market. It might have been a plan of some pre-sale purchasers, and I'll touch on that in a sec, but it might have been a plan of some pre-sale purchasers 3 or 4 years ago, but it's nothing that exists in today's market. But, in terms of how this is headlined, this home flipping tax, we're going to target speculators and investors. I noticed a lot of the messaging actually is maybe switching from the term investors to speculators, because I think the provincial government is realizing that they can't keep hammering investors, and they can't publicly go out there and say, we don't like investors, because they probably understand at this point that investors are required to move the housing starts needle forward, to actually have housing starts continue. So I've noticed in their communication, you see a lot of, speculators, which again, does not exist in this market. So if you buy and sell, and one thing that's very key about this is this is not January 1st moving forward. What I mean by that is, had you purchased this property within the last 2 years and you sold it on January 1st and it fell within 730 days, you would be subject to the tax. So this pertains to you if you purchased a property within the last, say year and a half, 18 months, 20 months, whatever it might be. This will pertain to you if you're going to sell early on in Q1 here. Now, the other key thing to note with this is there are a host of exemptions in terms of, when you wouldn't have to pay the tax. You could have had a change of employment, work moves you elsewhere, you could have had a loss in the family. There's a whole significant list of exemptions that would exempt you from this tax. Now, where I have a pretty big gripe with this, two areas. Number one, you guys have been watching this channel for a bit. If you have, I'm not a big fan of too much government control over personal property rights. So here's another instance where you purchase a property, you move into it, 6 months later, you decide that, okay, this is not the neighborhood for me. Something's not, I just don't like where I live. And this happens a lot. People move to a new place, they're not familiar with it, they want to move away, and now this causes you to think, is this something that is this something that I should do? Am I going to have to pay even more tax to the government now? I think the reality is when we look at the total numbers, between 2019 and 2021, averaged about 2.8 to 3% of all home sales across BC were considered flipped, meaning that they were bought and sold within 1 year. The province is estimating that this is going to amount to, across the province, 4,000 homes that could be subject to this home flipping tax. Now, again, a whole host of exemptions. Very likely people that are buying and selling are going to fall under one of these exemptions. And so, my gripe with it is you're going to have staff sitting there that's going to have to monitor, do these properties fall under exemption, go through all the paperwork. There's going to be watchdogs on the provincial side getting paid full salaries to target a very small amount of homes. Now, when we look at it realistically, we look at prices. Prices have not skyrocketed over the last year in any segment. And even over the last 2 years, they've been relatively steady. So a lot of times when you factor in the costs of buying, selling, if you're going to sell in a short period of time, your lift, your profit, if there is any, depending on what the product type is, but if there is any, maybe it's 20,000, 10,000 after you factored in all the costs there were to sell. You're looking at people that are chasing, say, 20% of $10,000 as an example, they're chasing $2,000. Again, full-time salaried employees, and the vast majority of the time, people are going to be exempt. So it's not like this is going to, in my opinion, be a very fruitful tax for the provincial government, but it's another opportunity for them to grab a little bit more control, gain a little bit more control, say what you can and can't do with your property. So now you buy a property, you plan to sell it within 2 years, you're gonna have to think long and hard, does it make sense for me to sell? You're gonna have to take a look, do I fall under these exemptions? If we just pull ourselves right out of it, the thought that you can buy a property and basically be told when you can buy and sell it and for what reasons you can without having to pay a penalty, I personally think it's wrong. I think it's the timing, first of all, doesn't make any sense. It's not going to pertain at all to this market, really. There's not going to be these huge profits or any money going to the provincial government, which they can put back into housing. It's not going to exist. It's just going to be some more control. But again, as of January 1st, moving forward, that's when the tax will apply. But they will go back 730 days to see whether you bought and sold within that period of time. So before I close off this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for such a great year in 2024. And I want to wish you and your families, your loved ones, a very happy, successful, prosperous new year, a healthy new year, whatever it is, whatever your goals are for next year, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, whatever it is that you need, I hope you get that. I want to thank you so much for such a wonderful year. I've been fortunate enough to work with so many of you over the last couple of years now, helping buy and sell real estate and being a part of such significant milestones in your life, and I don't take that for granted. So I just want to thank you guys so much for such a great year. And as always, if you ever want to reach out to me and talk about real estate, you want to talk about your 2025 plans, you can book me for a call, or you can just send me a text, give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever's easiest for you. But again, just want to thank you so much. I hope you have a happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you next week.